Rickmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, rickmotech.com. Rickmotech, high-performance sim.
And welcome to Homestead Miami Speedway for the Extreme Rickmotech Xfinity Series. And I am Alan Bergen, joined up here in the booth by my good friend Jordan. Jordan, how's it going, buddy?
Going great, man. It's a nice sunny day here in Miami and looking forward to some racing.
Well, I tell you what, these guys are finishing up qualifying right now. And, I got to say, it's going to be a warm one here. But while they're finishing up qualifying, let's take a look at the race facts here. It is 78 degrees here, ambient temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy, and 2-mile-an-hour wind here. It's 81 on the track temp. It's a mile and a half, and it's got progressive banking, Jordan. So while we're going to see cars, run around the bottom, we're going to see cars run around the top. So, you were here last week. Last week's winner was Jacob. Jacob Brower. I had a brain fart. Jacob Brower was your winner at Daytona, and filling in for Liam tonight. Jordan, we're gonna lean on you a lot more about this series because you know a little bit more about it than I do.
Yeah, and that's great. That's fine. Jacob Brower, cutting it close by winning by just over .06. And then we saw our pole sitter Alan Dobbs, make a good comeback. Dropped off the pace early in that race, lost the draft, but was able to pull off a third place finish. And it wasn't too bad on cautions, but there was one or two pretty big cautions. Some people getting roughed up early. Some guys who didn't necessarily get stage points. Ended up trying to find their way to get the full amount of points they could, and found themselves in a hole here early on in the season. I know it's only one race, but you can miss playoffs off of just one race. That extra 10 or 20 points you could have gotten with a higher place finish, or even some of those stage points could be critical come time for the playoff cutoff.
Well, I tell you what, these guys are in for a treat or whale of a race tonight, as it looks like they are finishing up qualifying. With that being said, we are going to go ahead and go to our starting lineup here. On the pole tonight is Michael Scott, List Rambler, Alan Fox to his outside. On row number 2, the inside would be Jacob Bauer, the last week's winner in Daytona, with Lawrence Holman to his inside, or to his outside. Frank Orsorini there in the number 60 car. He will be flanked by Bryce Cinciak. On the inside row number 4 will be Tyler Bertram. He will be flanked by Jacob Jensen. Paul Irvin, he will start in that 9th position, and he'll be flanked by Austin Karp. Let's see here. He's not in his car currently. Let's see here. Number P11 will be Nicholas Weatherby, and he'll be flanked by Mike Rominger. Nicholas Caldwell in that number 34 car will start in that 13th position there. And he'll be flanked by Alan Dobbs there in that number 38 car. Matt Cochran, he'll start 15th, and he'll be flanked by the 26th car, Joshua Vidal. Forrest Smith in the 17th starting spot. Daniel Krim will flank him on the outside. Starting 19th will be Ted Pullen. And he'll be flanked by Michael Thwaites. Starting 21st will be Brandon Stoller, and Josh Wren will start 22nd. Moving through the back of the field here. Starting 23rd will be Derek Cat. Douglas Carlson will start 24th in that 89 car. Starting 25th will be Joshua Cogswell. Justin Lemke will start 26th. Todd Keir and Joe Darnell will start 27th to 28th. And rounding out your field will be Ed Morris Sr. as these guys get ready to make their way to the race cars here. And I tell you what, I got to call this league one time, Jacob, and that was with Frank Marchese, or who used to call this league all the time. He's doing baseball things with the San Diego Padres, and the race was at Indianapolis, and this is one of those premier leagues, as we got 29 cars signed into the pit area that took time. So I think this is going to be a race of green flag runs. I think there's going to be a lot of green flag racing. I think there's going to be a lot of close quarter racing.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Homestead is you have the multi-groove racing. You have guys who like to ride up against the fence. You have the guys who just follow the normal, inside line to get down to that, quickest way around the track. And it really shows, you have some people that are running through the middle, and it really shows how different you can run this track and still be faster or just as fast as someone else running on a different line. And it's all about the car. It's all about your preference. And it also takes some guts to, run up against that fence, because if you go in just a bit too hot or make a quick move on the wheel and you're in that fence and you're putting yourself back, you're going to have damage to fix. You could even possibly lose the race for that matter. You could be going last lap, coming around that outside edge, just clip the wall just enough, and that guy on the inside can just fly by.
You're definitely right on that one. And, so as we are doing our one lone parade lap, Michael Scott on the pole, Alan Fox to his outside, as we get ready to come through turns 3 and 4 right now. And there's only one thing to do before we come to green flag, Jordan, and that is to pull the 5-Port Hornets Grandpa, take a Viagra pill. Because right now it is showtime in Homestead Miami Speedway. We are green flag and we are racing.
Yeah, we see the 57 get a nice little jump there, not too far, not too quick, diving into turn 1. Alan Fox, the previous winner the last time the series was here, finds himself on the outside getting passed by last week's winner, Jacob Bauer.
Well, as the Extreme, Recomotech Extreme Xfinity Series comes roaring down the back straightaway. And right now we have a 3-way battle. That's for the lead, as 4 cars are into this battle right now. And last week's winner, Jacob Brower, is trying to back that win up last week and score himself a win here in the Xfinity Series. Wow, these guys are just insanely good.
Yeah, without a doubt, these guys are a very good bunch of racers. They race relatively clean, and as I say that, there's a little bit of contact in the back of the field. But they race relatively clean, so.
That's all right, as we got 3 wide action here, and that's the 86 of Tyler Bertram. And it looks like Austin Harp was in there. Nicholas Cardwell involved also, as these guys are slicing the dice, coming down the back straight, or the front straightaway, rather.
Yeah, and you can already see the 19s in the wall, and that's what I was talking about just before we started the race. He found himself, stuck up against that wall and trying to run that outside line, and he lost quite a deal of positions there. I mean, I want to say he lost about 6, 7, maybe even 8 positions trying to run as close to that wall as he can.
No harm, no foul from the 19 car getting into the wall. So we're going to jump back here in the front of the field, though, as Michael Scott is leading this piece there, and the eyeball test is not really that. Well, let's just say it's not really an eyeball test just yet. But these guys are going to start getting single file and spread out here as we go through the race.
Yeah, and you can see that 57 has a little bit more of a closer to a diamond effect, diamond the corner there, as the 3 is kind of working his way down to that apex, kind of riding that line there. You can see the different lines they're already running. Alan Fox was dropping off a little bit there, but he seems to have found a little bit of something to get himself back up there. But that 57 car, from what I hear, from past seasons in the Cup Series last week, it's a dangerous man to have up front. He's really good, he's really fast, and he just knows his way around just about every track.
He is one of the best here to do it in this race series for XMS, and they don't call these guys the XMS Elite for nothing. These guys are, I firmly believe, the best of the best. But we're going to take a look through the rest of the field to see if we can find some action going on. 38 car, and these guys, some of these guys firmly believe that the Kyle Larson line is still there.
Yeah, I think it's still there. I don't think it's there as prominent as it was in previous years on the sim, with different tire models being updated and everything like that. It's kind of dropped off a little bit. You kind of want a little bit more of like a car off or half a car off. But again, it's all in driver preference, in my opinion. Up there, if you can get out to that outside line, run it wide open. As the Bertram falls to one side there, looking like he's gotten into a little bit of business already this evening. But,
no harm, no foul.
He keeps it under him, so that's always a plus. But finding himself having to gather himself again. But for sure, I think this track's a very big driver preference, depending on how you run that outside line. I wouldn't be testing the waters too early and trying to run really high and maybe try to just work in that rubber. I think once the rubber gets in up on that line, you're going to see people move their way up there later in runs. But for the most part, I think you're going to see a lot of these guys running that inside/middle lane for the most part of this race.
Well, here at lap 40, we are going to have a stage break. So there will be one guaranteed caution on the night here whenever we do go green, or whenever we do have that stage break. As we go back to the front of the field with Michael Scott List Rambler there and Jacob Brower there in that number 3 car. And these 3 cars right here, Jordan, they are going to have a breakaway attempt here. I wouldn't say attempt, they are breaking away from the field.
Yeah, looking over, they are running very close to the same times as each other. And some of the guys, in that 4th and on back kind of dropped off just about a tenth or so from these years. They're not pulling away quickly, but they are starting to make a little bit of a gap, and I think these 3 are going to be the ones to watch tonight, especially Brower. It would be great for him to start off the season with 2 wins, but at 57 and the returning the defending race winner of Alan Fox is definitely going to be in their rearview mirror as well.
Well, Alan Dobbs, Alan Fox there in that 73 car, and as we're working lap 11 right now, we appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight to the Extreme Racing Tech Extreme Xfinity series here, and give us some love, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so that we can be notified every time that we go live here on SRM. And if there's a car you want to see highlighted, make sure you just put it in the chat. We'll get your favorite drivers some airtime, or someone's pulling for their significant other, or what have you. Shout them out, and we'll give you we'll give the favorite drivers of yours some airtime. And if you want to, you can even shout Jordan and myself out here in the Tony Trapasso booth. You know, located just outside of 30 miles south of St. Louis here. And Jordan, the Tony Trapasso booth moves around quite a bit.
You got that right. Our little mobile booth is everywhere. You know, you're in St. Louis. I'm out here in Maryland. So I mean, we're all over the states. You know, so it's a wonderful thing to be able to sit here and talk. You know, like we're in the same room. It's awesome.
So right now, you know, checking in on my beloved St. Louis Cardinals. It's the top of the sixth, and we are up 3-0 on the Philadelphia Phillies right now. So Frank is over calling a truck race, or not Frank, but Dave Riedel, our esteemed partner here at SRM. He's losing his mind right now. As Alan,
I'm right there with him.
As Alan Fox right now is continually losing his mind, trying to get around Jordan or Jacob Bauer. Wow, I got my J's mixed up. As we were 15 laps in.
I think a lot of this first 40 laps, you're going to see them try maybe a little bit different lines. Maybe not, moving from top to bottom, but you might see them, go up a car or, kind of arc it a little different. I think they're going to be figuring out this track, figuring out how their car is working, and paying more attention to what it's doing than trying to make it. Those three seem to have it pretty figured out right now, but looking at the times here, there's some other people, just behind them in 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're running the 32.8s just along with them. So after that stage break, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing, these guys staying a little bit more bunched up and really making this a very interesting race.
As we are 16 laps into this 140 lap affair, and no one's really, in my opinion, pulling away from each other. The race has been real close up, especially up front. As you're watching Nicholas Weatherby and Ted Pullen battle here, and that's a position battle for essentially 12th and 13th. As Joshua Dell gets in there.
Yeah, and like I said, you saw Weatherby there kind of lose that spot to Ted Pullen there. I just don't think that outside line has a lot of rubber buildup. There's not a lot of grip. You're going to have to kind of ease yourself in there and run a little bit slower. But as time goes on, I think we're going to see that line late in runs, specifically late in runs once these tires start to get worn out, that being that more wanted area to be. You're going to be able to keep it a little bit more revved up. You're not going to have to slow down as much or as early, getting into the corner. And you're going to be able to fire off from that outside line a lot faster than you're going to be able to fire off from being, down on that white line.
So right now, as we're back up to the front of this piece here, and not a whole lot of breathing room right now for Michael Scott. As the gap's starting to widen out, but I mean, these guys are just a little bit, kind of, a little spread out, but not too bad. About a half second between the both of them. So right now, the interval between the leader and third place is about a second and a half. And the interval between the leader and second place of Jacob Bauer is about a half a second. So, they're not really pulling away, but they're not really gaining on each other either right now. So they're just kind of running their own race right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was leading to a little bit. Figuring out their cars, figuring out their runs, figuring out what works for them, and it's all going to be how can they find speed. I think it's going to be that way all night. You're going to have to consistently sit there and think, okay, I got off that corner great, but I feel like I'm losing time.
As we started,
Orsini in the wall.
Yeah, Frank Orsini in the wall. Daniel Herrera in the YouTube chat written on the number 60 of Frank Orsini, and he's battling the 4 car of Mike Rominger, trying to figure out a way to get by Rominger there, and we have a lead change up here in the front.
Oh, I wonder what happened to Michael Scott. He's dropping fast for me. Him and Alan Fox are both dropping. Oh,
Well,
they're in pits.
they're going to the pits. They're doing their pit stop, and so that's going to turn the lead over to Jacob Brower there in that 3 car. As we're starting to see green flag pit stops. And Jordan, one thing I want to point out too is pit road is tricky to get on and off here at Homestead as a driver or anything. So you're basically, coming into the pits doing a $180, and you gotta get it all the way down to at least 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, and we kind of saw this last week at Daytona where a couple of guys came in really early on in the run, and I'm interested to see how this plays out because last week it was very interesting. So they came down early, got their fuel, stretched it out a little bit more into the second stage, and ultimately it just didn't work out in their favor as much as it could have. I think the longer run, people, it worked a little bit more in their favor, but ultimately I believe Brower was on that pit early, run long, and ended up catching the guys who pitted later a lot quicker.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, it's really not a half bad strategy to have. You're on lap 24 of 140. And, so Michael Scott is essentially going to come out of the pits back there in that 18th position. So the last thing he needs right now is a caution flag to fly. But we are guaranteed at least one caution in the race here tonight, and that's at the stage break here at lap 40. So we got about 15 laps until the stage. And these guys are already making green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I think some of these guys are going to maybe try to skip that halfway stage, or not halfway stage, my apologies, but skip that stage 1 caution pit stop and kind of try to, run an extra 20 or so laps, maybe try to cut that stage down to maybe 1 stop. I'm not too sure on the fuel mileage right now in my head. I've lost my head apparently. But I wonder if some of these guys are trying to make it a one or 2 stop race instead of a 2 or 3 stop race.
Right now, Michael Rominger is going to come in pits, and he really had to get on the binders to get into the pits. And that's essentially going to turn the race lead over to Ted Pullen there in that number 15 car, and Matt Cochran on his outside there in that number 44 car. So now, as we wind down to stage 1 here, these guys essentially had 40 laps to feel their cars out, and now we see Ted Pullen trying to get down to the inside so he can maybe get a hole in and get into the pits also. And I'm surprised that no one tried to ride it out until lap 40 and then come into the stage break.
Yeah, I mean, you see a couple guys here right now, they're trying to stretch it. Maybe they're hoping that they can stay ahead of these guys who did pit and maybe grab some much needed stage points. I know it's not going to be hard for Liz Rambler to get back up into those top spots, and it looks like the 15 is actually coming down now. Cochran was one of the guys last week that stayed out the entire stage and actually won the stage, got himself some points. So I wouldn't be surprised if he possibly is one of the ones that does stay out and push it all the way to the end of the stage. But I feel like we're getting close to probably just about everybody.
Well, I tell you what, right now, Liz Rambler, he was one of the first ones to blink here as Matt Cochran is looking for a hold so he can dive down to the inside. And looks like he's going to stay out also and try to push it to the end of the stage as we got 11 laps until the stage break here from Miami Homestead.
Yeah, and I feel like coming down now, I feel like it just probably wouldn't make much sense now. You're already losing this time now. If you come down and get that service, you're kind of, in my opinion, wasting your time. You're giving up possible, you might not win the stage if you're Matt Cochran, but you might, finish 4th or 5th versus, not getting any of those stage points, possibly putting yourself way behind. Rambler is running those times he was at the start of the race, and these guys are running about a second slower than him. So I don't think they're gonna have to really worry about it, but time will tell here in the next.
We're 9 laps to the stage right now as Matt Cochran leads this, and Daniel Krem is to his inside there, and these guys are not giving each other 1 inch of the fly flew. Wow, the fly just flew into my mouth. Here in the Tony Sherpasso Memorial Studio. And like I said, we were just south of St. Louis here tonight. But hey, we're calling a race in Miami, Homestead, Florida. Sunny, beautiful, warm Florida. Not really too humid out. You know what? It's a Chamber of Commerce type day here in South Florida, with an ambient temperature of 86 degrees and partly cloudy, 45% relative humidity, and a 2-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, so I imagine there's a pretty fair amount of grip. It's not too hot out. The track doesn't get as hot as our leader is in the wall. Like I said, they're running that high line, and it's a dangerous line to be running for 100% there.
Hey, live by the cushion, die by the cushion. That's what I say.
Hey, you're one of those dirt trackers, so it's there. And honestly, when I run those dirt cars, the cushion's the best place to be. It's a lot of fun, and you just don't want to go over it, because the second you go over it, it's out of your hands, and Jesus take the wheel.
Well, I tell you what, though, calling these asphalt races is a lot of fun too, as we are about 6 laps away, and that's a sweet looking car there, that number 50 car of Justin Lemke. Got the flames going on, the Toyota Supra there. Man, oh man, what a cool looking car.
And List Rambler, he passes in for 3rd, so Rambler might actually make a fight for the stage win here. He's got about 5 seconds or so to make up, but he's running almost 2 full seconds faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if he catches these guys here and tries to make a win for that stage there.
Oh, you're not wrong there. You are not wrong there.
Rambler's last time was a 33.74, but our leader ran, including the tap at the wall, he ran a 35.22. So about a second and a half as Cochran actually decided to bring it down just not too early from the pit lane being closed. It will close with 2 laps to go on the stage. So if Krim decides to stay out, I wonder if he might make the same call here and actually hand it over to List. And List actually proved that that's the better strategy right now.
Well, right now, Daniel Krim has a 3-second lead over List Rambler, and once he comes up pit road, List, Michael Scott, and Alan Fox and Jacob Brower will become your top 3 once again. So you kind of knew it was coming as Matt Cochran brings it out, and he's going to rejoin the field P19. But it won't take him very long to get up here, as we have 3 laps left in the stage here. And I believe, Jordan, if I'm not wrong, the 10th car will trigger the caution.
Yeah, and if Krim's coming, he's got to come now. So it doesn't seem like he's looking to come, so I think he's going to stay out and try to keep his nose in front of that 57 and try to take the stage win here.
Pit road is closed.
Yep, he's only got a second and a half on him right now, so if you want to get this stage win, he's definitely going to have to pick it up here.
Well, there you see the interval between him and Michael Scott, List Rambler. Is only a second and a half. as we are on lap 39 coming to the line here, lap 39. And once we hit lap 40, the 10th car in line will trigger the cautions. Looks like we have a car that's for Smith, but we stay green. There's the yellow. Let's see what happened here. Of course, green in that number 97 car. Ooh, gets loose and, oh man, just wisely loops it around there on the apron of the racetrack. Nonetheless, that will be the stage.
Yeah, Daniel Prim definitely getting a little lucky there, you know, because that 57 was definitely hunting him down there. Bliss Ramler was hot on his tail, you know, only about a second or so behind at the time of caution. So that ends up being a saving grace for Daniel Prim there.
As we are under caution here for essentially the stage break now, as you know, the 97 car of Forrest Smith goes around. Jordan, this would be a great time to stretch our legs. We are going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back. So we're going to pay some bills, and we'll be right back from the start of stage number 2 from Miami Homestead Speedway. You're watching XMS Elite Xfinity Series live on SRM.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to the XMS Elite Xfinity Series live from Miami Homestead Speedway. I'm Alan Bergen up here in the SRM booth. Well, alongside of me is Jordan Brockel. And we just completed stage 1. We're getting ready to get lined back up to start stage 2. Daniel Prim takes the stage win as Scott Lips, Rambler, and Alan Fox as your top 3. And Jordan, it's been an action-packed first stage so far, as we've had one caution for cause, which was essentially our stage break.
Yeah, and it's interesting that caution was called there, and it seemed like he got it going, but ultimately we were coming to the stage end anyway. So I'm interested. I didn't see Daniel Krim pit, and I wonder if he's just going to run this out and maybe just see how far he can go. But they do have a choose rule here, so it does kind of look like they're already maybe setting up for the choose here, but I don't see too many people as wide as they could be. So I'm wondering if they're still under pacing right now. But ultimately, I mean, for Daniel Krim there, that stage, getting cut short saved him. He got the 10 bonus points and gets to continue trying to work his way through this field once he makes his stop, and maybe even try to play a little strategy and get a win.
And I couldn't agree with you more, as they, I would assume, start to figure out which way they're going to go, as it looks like Michael Scott is heading to the outside, and it looks like Daniel Krim is hinting that, hey, maybe I wanted the inside. And that's the thing he's got to discuss, or think about as a driver. What line is going to get you the better hole shot, right? So, as a driver, I'm cautious. I prefer the inside line as we get ready to line these guys back up. We're going to have essentially 80-something laps left in the race here, I want to say. Maybe, no, actually 96 laps, sorry. We're doing St. Louis math tonight, buddy.
St. Louis math ain't that bad. It's all the same numbers, right?
Well, they do Common Core math in school right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, looking here at the stats, Daniel Krim didn't have a great finish. He finished around 24th, and there was only 31 cars in the field, so he was just only seven cars off of the last place finish. So I wonder if that was a move for him to maybe try to grab some of these points and kind of get himself in a little bit of a rebound. It's a great thing with these stage points. It changes everything as far as strategy. You never know who's going to stay out to go for those points. You don't know who's going to just say screw it, I don't need those points. So it adds a layer of strategy, in my opinion, just to even have just this one stage.
Well, I don't know that they are. I think we're the only two in the Discord here. I wanted to pull the driver up as they are coming down pit road now. I wanted to chat with the stage 1 winner, and I wonder why they're coming down pit road.
I wonder if they had a hold on pit road for a bit. They weren't allowed to pit, but it looks like they're making those pit stops now, just before going back to green.
Yeah, and that is really, really weird. Let's see here. I don't see anybody in their voice chats. I could be wrong, but I think they might do a TeamSpeak for their race control. Well, we'll get to talk to the race winner and everybody at after the race is over.
We can try to get Daniel Krim up here.
You can see a lot more than what I can see, Jordan.
Yeah, so I'll work on that.
Yeah, so go ahead and find Daniel Krim and let's have a chat with him if you don't mind. Daniel, it's Alan and Jordan up in the SRM booth. You got a copy?
Let's go, boys. What's up?
Hey, first off, congratulations on the Stage 1 win. What's the track feel like out there in South Florida? It's essentially Chamber of Commerce weather tonight.
It is definitely Florida man weather. I can confirm. Um, I will say, I know in practice it felt very racy. I really was fighting the urge just to go out and have fun and just go full send in that first stage, but I knew there was a very slight chance that I could save a little bit. And when everyone else was just flying by me at the start, I was like, well, I figured everybody else was going to try to split that first stage or basically split it in half. So I knew basically if I could just at least try to get to the end, I could at least go for a splash and go. And the more I saved, the more I realized, man, I might be able to actually make this thing. I would have been very close to making the stage at the end there. I probably would have been running out under caution, to be honest with you, but luckily I got that caution called right before my buddy Scott Rambler there caught us. So still got some stage points, so I'll put that in the bank and I'll take that playoff point.
So look, we're getting ready to do the choose roll. So do you choose the outside, inside? I mean, you don't have to give the strategy out, but you know, as we get lined up and get ready to double up. So what's the strategy for the rest of the race? Are we gonna go full send again here for the last 100 or so laps, or are we?
I don't think it'll be full send. I think it'll be a good mix of a little bit of everything. Because I think no matter what, everyone has to make 2 stops to the end. There's no way. I was surprised I made 45 laps there, and there's no way you can still divide that into 140. So looks like I'm gonna come in behind my friend Scott Ramble here. Gonna give him a little love tap.
Well, look, man, we're gonna go ahead and get you on your way, and hopefully we'll be talking to you on the other side of this piece.
Stand for, see y'all.
All right, that's Daniel Krem, your Stage 1 winner. Jordan, I told you I was going to lean on you a lot, and, well, look, I'm just filled in for Liam. I'm keeping the proverbial seat warm here as I'm spinning the ones and twos, and Jordan, he's along for the ride as we're driving this crazy train. But as we get ready to go back to green, my beloved St. Louis Cardinals are still at 3-0 against the Philadelphia Phillies. Jordan, very sorry as the bases are loaded right now, and you got one out. But the other person that would love to not have to hit a grand slam here would be Michael Scott Lisp Rambler and Alan Fox as we get ready to come back to the Geico restart zone on lap 48, getting ready to start lap 49. And we are down and away. Green flag racing once again from Miami Speedway.
Yeah, Rambler seemed to kind of hold himself there a little bit until like later in the box than normal, and got a great fire off there and put himself, already a little about 2/10 of a second ahead of Alan Fox.
Once again, same song, different verse. Alan Fox, Jacob Brower. I'm going to struggle with that one. And Daniel Krim making a run to the outside, trying to get into the mix for the top spots here. As it, look, we got a 4-car battle for the lead right now. We're working lap number 50 of 140.
Yeah, and that outside line still doesn't seem really worked in, as Daniel Krim's dropped 4 spots already at the start. I think he's going to lose a little bit more here if he doesn't move himself down. But I mean, he could be just setting that line up. If he's the only one out there rubbering it up, it could take a little while longer. But I think it'll be a useful thing for him come later in these runs.
So if he had the headset, he definitely listened to you. Got off the top shelf. Now he's in the basement. He is catfishing around Miami Homestead Speedway. Man, that's a beautiful sight. The cars coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and we see once again, Michael Scott and Alan Fox and Jacob Brower, pulling themselves along just like this little tiny train. And Senesac, is trying to add a car to that train there. It's going to be interesting once these tires get worked in and they start having a little bit of fall off, if that 09 those 3, because those 3 in that specific order have been the classic for the first 52 laps here.
52 laps into we're working lap 52, lap 51, and the 51 laps in the books right now. As the top 4 cars, that's Michael Scott, Alan Fox, Jacob Brower, Bryce Sinsack, and Alan Dobbs. That's your top 5, and those top 4 are starting to pull away slowly but surely, as everybody else is 2 by 2 behind him, trying to get things figured out, jockeying for position. Daniel Krim on the inside, going on defensive as Alan Karp goes on the attack, and they're side by side.
Yeah, Daniel Krim just can't seem to be able to find exactly what his car needs to get through these corners a little quicker. It just keeps kind of falling off a little bit. You know, on the top side, lost 4 positions. Now he's on the bottom side, lost 3 more. So he's got some figuring out to do, you know, with his runs. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's even saving a little bit of stuff there. He knew that, you know, he said he was surprised that he ran the amount of laps that he did on that tank. So he might be trying to think, maybe if I pull these reins back a little bit and stretch this out and, you know, get a later caution or get a later pit stop, might be able to stretch that last one, or even quick, you know, short pit that second pit stop, and kind of catch these guys by surprise here.
Yeah, we was talking to Daniel Krim, and he feels like it's going to be a 2-stop race as Michael Scott goes up to the top shelf. And here comes Alan Fox on the inside. Is this going to be a potential battle for the lead, as the top 4 has broken away from the rest of the field? And it's almost like a second and a half all the way back to 5th position. We got Alan Dobbs. He's up on the top shelf. And there you see the eyeball test. And it's pretty close to second and a half.
Yeah, and like I said, those top 3 have definitely been the class of the field, but Senesac's showing like, hey, like, I'm in this conversation too, right? Don't count me out, you know, don't say anything that yet, you know, we've got plenty of time and I'm here.
As it looks like the top 10 has finally decided to go and put themselves in the line. Here's we are at lap 57 of 140. Right now, Michael Thwaites is pursuing Jacob Jensen pretty hard in that 64 car. Thwaites is going to go to the outside and see if he can make something happen, but he cannot do it. He just doesn't have enough motor.
Yeah, it's still early. I think the first early runs, you know, it's a little bit maybe on edge. You know, some people are a little more, you know, they have a little more confidence in their cars to push it, like, you know, like I said, the top 4. And, you know, these guys here, you know, around 5th, 6th, 7th, have just a little bit less confidence, you know, and they're battling just a tad bit more. And I think we're going to see...
Whoa, Alan Dobbs gets... Alan Dobbs just had a check your shorts moment. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jordan, as... Wow.
No, that's a scary moment there, because you could overcorrect and you end up putting yourself in the wall or another car, or, you know, you end up having to lock it down and you find yourself needing tires, needing to get a stop, praying for a caution, you know, to get yourself back in the right set of mind. And, you know, he had a rough one last week. You know, he tried to do the drop back at Daytona, ran out of room, was still stuck on the apron, you know, almost came back up on the apron, and, you know, he said he was having some technological difficulties, and, you know, he thankfully for him, you know, got everything squared away and was able to come back and have a good finish. But, you know, he's struggling a bit here, you know, with that handling a little bit.
As we jump back to the 84 car here of Jonathan Cogswell, he's up 8 spots, so he started, you know, in the 20s there, and I gotta say, you know, most broadcasts will focus on the ladies, so we're gonna kind of go throughout the field and see what's happening, check in on some guys, see where the battles are. But I tell you what, Jordan, this has been a barn burner from the word go. as I believe we're getting close to seeing some green flag pit stops here. As I want to say they're going to get about 20-25 laps on a fuel run. If anything, they're going to do a fuel run.
Yeah, I mean, with the stage being at 40 and running, I think that was being or that caution brought him to about 45, 46 before going back green. I would be a little surprised to see people come down 20 or so laps in this run. It seems to be the thing to do in the first stage, just to kind of give yourself some fresh tires and do what Michael Rambler did and, run down that lead pack again. Ultimately, it didn't work out the way he wanted and didn't get the stage win. But I would expect these guys here now to maybe run a little bit long. Our stage winner, Daniel Prim, said he got about 45 or so laps on that run. Granted, he did have about 6 caution laps, so I would be expecting these guys maybe a little more towards 80. Maybe trying to push for a 1-stop to 2-stop. It may be a short pit. I don't think they can do it on 1 stop. That's a lot to ask. Hitting maybe at lap 80, 85, that would still give you about 60 to go, or 55 to 60 to go in the race. So maybe a short pit here could be in the works, but I would expect more people to push a little longer to know how the car works in the long run, and maybe do a short pit after that first green flag stop.
Right now, we are on board with Alan Dobbs, the driver out of Fort Payne, Alabama, and I've seen him race before. I can't figure out where, but I did see him race other places, and man, he's one heck of a wheel man.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my only knowing of him is just strictly from being in Daytona, which is not simple, but simple as far as drivability. It's different as far as strategy and resiliency and chaos. But he was able to work his way through a large field, find himself some buddies to work with. Had his teammates for a little while, but it ended up ultimately, the four of them getting kind of wrapped up a little bit in each other. But no, he's definitely a wheel man. Definitely shows potential here, just as we run here. That he knows how to run, and I mean he started back in 12-ish position, and finding himself 12, 14 position, finding himself all the way up to 6th now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up finding some stuff, maybe some secret sauce, putting himself in the top 5, top 3.
Well, right now we're on board with the number 09 car of Bryce Cinsiak there, and now we're going to switch over to Austin Karp. And you can see the different lines that these guys are actually running right now. Austin Karp is in that 5th position. We're going to go ahead and transition back to the outside of the car. There we went. Ooh, Karp gets into the wall just a little bit. And, that's the thing we alluded to earlier. If they think there's a little bit of grip up there, they're going to run that. They're going to run next to that wall.
Yeah, and I mean, as you see Jacob Brower right now, he's trying to ride that cushion out there, and it's a little bit more dangerous cushion in my opinion than them dirt cars, but it's still a cushion. So he's running it, and it seems to be keeping him around these guys, but it's not really any match for that 37 car that just seems to be able to run wherever he wants and make time. And right now you're just running where you can run fastest, but later you're definitely going to see these guys just trying to run where the other car isn't.
Well, 70 laps into this thing here. 30 to 100, 30 till we get to lap 100, and then I think we're at like 60 to go. I think we're doing St. Louis math. I have to.
We're about 70 to go, but you're not far off. You know, you're off 10 like I'm an hour off of you. So I mean, your math takes a little bit longer to catch up. So, but no, like 70 laps. I wouldn't be surprised if some guys try to maybe come down a little early now. 70, 75 maybe. Maybe everyone's going to end up pushing it to 80. But I definitely think we're getting to that point where someone's got to do something different. Someone can't. If we just play follow the leader, this is going to be Liz Rambler's race. And everyone's just going to be fighting for second place at this point because they have to find what he doesn't do. You kind of have to make him force his hand. If Alan Fox or Brower or Senesac decide to pull a short quick pit, before Rambler does, you're almost forcing his hand and forcing him to come down pit road before he actually wants to. But if you let him decide when he wants to go, you're giving him his strategy and you're letting him take control of the race.
So right now, I want to point out something to you. So Liz Rambler went. So almost all the field, their last pit stop was lap, 45, right? So unless you are a madman and you're Derek Catt, he last pitted on lap 24, and he is out there in no man's land right now. They're in 24th position.
He has to be just about out of tire as he's coming down now, it seems. Him and Frank Orsini as well are both in. So we know that you can go a lot longer than it seems here. I wonder how much he was saving there, but I'm wondering if these guys can actually push it to about 60 laps. So that might even be putting us in territory of, maybe even lap 90 or so, maybe even 80. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out.
Checking in the YouTube chat for Prop FPV. There are no cars out of the race. It's just it's an SDK software thing where it doesn't pick up maybe all the cars that cross the line on my end. So we do apologize if it shows cars out. There is no one out of the race right now. There are cars laps down, but there are cars, nobody's out of the race.
Yeah, it seems right now the only car that has been on pit road for a while is Taylor Bertram. Looks like he's been there for about 20 minutes or so. It does have some nose damage. Might be calling it a night, but yeah, for most sake, I think he's the only one technically out right now as we speak.
As he is laps down for sure. And there are drivers that are laps down as he, like you said, might be putting it on the hauler, and well, he's in the pits for a very long time, so he might very well just win the race to the beer stand. That might be the only race that he wins tonight.
Yeah, and I can see now that Rambler's already putting himself well in front of these guys. Second off.
For sure. So now we're starting, like I said, green flag pit stops, and so far we got Kieran, Lemke's in, let's see, Vidal's in, and Bertram spending a ton of time on pit road, what seems like an eternity as these cars continue to go by him.
Bertram may or may not be just, swiping through TikTok or spotting for a buddy at this point. He had a rough night. Found himself in a couple little run-ins, and then ultimately, I guess he just had something a little more catastrophic, and he decided to call it a night, which is not a problem. I was running Martinsville. Oh, we're right in front of the leaders. We stay green, though. We stay green.
Please stay green. So far, we're doing good. One caution flag, and that was the 8 car of Joe Darnell. Meanwhile, we're in the 4th position there. And
Seneca found his way around Brower, kind of trying to, maybe he's just going to try to pick these guys off one at a time, you know, and he's not quite able to run down that 57 as of right now, and neither is Alan Fox. They're kind of making a race for second place, but he could easily possibly make a short pit. He could be the one to force the hand of both Alan Fox and Rambler here if he so choose, and maybe kind of put them on the hot seat and make them make a decision a little sooner than they want to. Actually, Alan Fox is going to be that guy.
wow,
He's going to come down pit road now at lap 80, going to 81. So maybe now coming around back to 81, going to 82, we could see all three of them make a move from the pit. I think Creighton's going to pull off what he did last time, kind of run long, try to stay out there, try to keep himself in front of everybody. But that's a quick move. Alan Fox may force somebody's hand here.
Well, so here's the thing too I want to point out, Jordan. Daniel Krim, might be getting to that maybe that lap 100, 105 mark. And I think that would put him pretty close to the end where he would have to go ahead and that would be the stop that would get to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to hang on and find his way into some higher spots, try to get a good points bang day. No problem with it, especially after having such a rough day at Daytona. Any way that you can find yourself points, as Senesac is the next taker out of those top 3. Any kind of way you can find yourself in some more points just to kind of make up for last week is going to be a big help.
Well, I'd say that Jacob Brower is on the outside, and he's thinking he's found some grip, but I'll tell you what, man, he's closing the gap ever so slightly. We're on lap 83 of 140.
Bramler and Brower come down at the same time here, so Brower's going to have to hope for as Krim comes down too.
Wow.
So no, he won't be putting it out longer. I think maybe we were right. 45, 46 laps is the number. I honestly do not know how Derek Catt made it as far as he did. He made it 72 laps on one stop.
I mean, you're not wrong. Lawrence Holman will take over the race lead here on lap 84 as we are cycling through green flag pit stops. Alan Dobbs will probably come in. And you know what, Jordan? I stopped trying to guess fuel strategy a long time ago. Because when you think they're going to zig, they're going to zag.
Alan Dobbs is one of the guys that came down a little earlier at lap 77, so he's going to find himself in a pretty decent spot. I mean, those top 3 are going to have to run him down. And
that's the thing is, can you? I mean, did he save enough though? That's what we got. That's what you got to remember. Did he save enough? Well, or did he got to make his bed and lie in it?
See, I think everyone's going to have to make some kind of short pit. It's just when you make that short pit, do you want to go long on this set? This set of tires and this fuel run, go long, try to push it a full stint, and make that short pit with, say, 10, 15, maybe 20 laps to go, so you have only 20 laps and you can run your stuff as hard as you possibly can? Or is the right call to be a short pit earlier and run the full stint second? So it's going to be a tough decision, and ultimately someone's going to have to choose one and the other one's going to choose the other, and it's just going to be a test of time to see if that guy that chooses that later run or that later short pit, if he can run down the guy that, say, short pits earlier than he does.
But you're not wrong there, as Michael Thwaites there in that number 12 car. He is trying to run down Alan Toxin's 73 car, and we got to wonder, once Alan Dobbs finally makes his way to pit road, that should turn the lead over to Alan Toxin's 73 car. But right now, the running order as it stands is Alan Dobbs leading this race. Not by a whole lot, because Alan Toxin's hot on his tail, just stalking, waiting for a mess up or for him to go down pit road. Michael Thwaites is.
So we're not going to see Alan come down pit road because he's already been down. He came down at lap 70, and Fox came down at lap 80. So Fox is on 3-lap fresher tires, and he obviously knows how to run this track. So, as we see here, he's going to go by Alan Dobbs with no issue. Actually, as I say that, he shuts the door and slides really close into that wall. He basically told Alan Fox if he wants the spot, he's going to have to work for it.
As they put the chief cook and bottle washer, Ed Morris Sr., down 1 lap. And here's a battle for the lead. Once again, Alan Dock did the advantage. Alan Dock there, a lap number 90. And we're going to stick with this battle here, as they are closing in on lap traffic again, and the next victim to go lap down is Lawrence Holman Jr. there in that 11 car.
As I was saying earlier, that top line seems to be coming in a little bit because Alan Dobbs is able to run that cushion and push himself past that 73. So I think we're starting to see that top line starting to get a little bit of rubber and starting to make a little bit of a difference. Alan Fox is going to have to just kind of go where he isn't and try to hope that he can drive it in a little deeper and make it stick and have a better drive off.
I mean, you're not wrong. Here we're on lap 90. And what we're going to do, Jordan, right now is we are going to step away, pay some bills from Miami Homestead Speedway. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and pay the bill. We'll be right back after this quick message. And you will not miss a thing, as we're going to run a commercial, and then we're going to go side by side, all in the same token, and we'll be right back for the end of this one.
Optional win and you're in. Custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Floodgates and sky.
And welcome back to SRM's presentation of the XMS Elite Xfinity Series. We are on lap 96 of 140, and we are going to go commercial free to the end. So you can see how this one plays out as Alan Dobbs gets passed for the second spot by Michael Scott, Bliss Rambler. And this has been a barber so far, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see, 3 of those 4 that we saw running away with it earlier are already back up to those top 3 spots. Brower seems to be struggling a little bit more than those guys, making his way around some of these guys. You know, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think these guys are going to find their way back in that 1, 2, 3, 4 spot and fighting ultimately for the win here later. And it's going to come down to this last pit stop, getting in, getting off as quickly as you possibly can, and basically just hoping that Bliss Rambler has a mess up or that he, overuses his stuff trying to track you back down. You're going to have to hope for him to mess up because he has been the class of the field all night. And, I mean, he just knows how to run this track right now. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, he, from what I understand, is the guy that you do not want to see in your mirror.
No, he is not. As Bliss Rambler is essentially in the 4th position right now.
Just as I said it, Brower was having trouble. He's already back up into that 3rd spot. He was about 6th or 7th when I said so, but he made quick work of those guys and just put his name right back in the hat.
So look, last night, I had the debuting as the voice of the Sunday Cup League here on SRM with 15 cautions from Nashville Fairground Speedway. Tonight, this is like a breath of fresh air as we have 41 laps to go here from Miami Homestead Speedway. Only 1 caution, and that was for the stage break, essentially, after Forrest Smith looped it around, and wisely looped it around nonetheless, onto the apron. And he, didn't back it up the racetrack, didn't get anybody's way, and kind of just did what every racer should do and just lock it down on the apron and grab the caution. But he has had a recovery run, and he's running 18th right now.
Yeah, and for anyone that's listening that's maybe looking for a league, I highly recommend, Extreme Elite, series, because these guys run very clean. They have their stuff down, and I mean, it's a very organized group of people, and the community itself is a great community. Even if you're not one of the best racers, it's just fun to get out here and just run a league race and get around guys that you know and hang out. So if you're looking for a league, Tuesdays, they run the Xfinity series. They're working on season 19, and if you're in the Cup cars, they run the next gens on Wednesday. And most of these guys that you see here running, Tuesday nights, they also run the Wednesday. So give it a shot, give it a look, and give these guys a chance.
Well, as you say that, I tell you what, the other thing too is if you love to talk and love social media, boy, do we have an opportunity for you. SRM is currently hiring for commentators and producers, so reach out to Jonathan Leach at SRM on Facebook. And I tell you what, man, Jordan, I know for a fact that you have stepped up a long, came into the fold probably not knowing what this is all about, and here you are commentating on 2 nights a week. Me, I have no life, so I do like 4 or 5 nights in a row.
Yeah, I saw the post on Facebook. I gave a shout. My tryout was my first night ever doing it. And, it just worked out, and honestly, this is one of the greatest things that I've ever decided to do. It's a ton of fun. You get to watch racing. It's what I love to do, and I didn't know I would love it as much as I do now, but I wish I would have done it sooner.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's kind of like, you know, as we got 35 laps to go here in this race here. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story while we're watching Alan Fox here just, you know, get run down by Bryce Sinsack. Whoa, wow. You could butcher a lot of names here. But, you know, so SRM and Johnson 18 and the boys, they were reviewing the NHRA game. I don't know if you know that. It came out on the console, and everybody went nuts for it over Steam or whatever.
Yep,
but
terrible.
Terrible, as he says. And so, long story short, is they were doing a live stream, and I commented. I had the joke of the night, and they thought it was hilarious. So they sent me a free T-shirt. Well, fast forward, you know, and then I'm like, I raced at a couple of leagues that they broadcast, you know, Western States, which is about 12 minutes away from kicking off on the air. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, how cool would it be to be a part of this, right? You know, 'cause I love social media. I'm a social media kind of guy. And so I saw a post, and they were looking for commentators. Like, look, you know what? I'll respond. What happened? What's the worst they could do? Just tell me no or get lost. But, you know, so I replied to as we see Alan Fox diving down the pit road for what would be the last stop. And, you know, back to the story here. As I said, the rest is history. 6 short months later, here I am. Started out as a commentator. I don't have the best of equipment. So you really don't need a lot of fancy stuff. And then, you know, Jonathan goes, well, how would you like to start trying to produce these things and run these shows by yourself? And I'm like, well, so I've done about a handful of them now, you know, and here we are. And boy, I really do appreciate you guys, you know, in the YouTube, you know, and on the socials, you know, showing you know, SRM love, and leagues coming out, and you know, Jordan, these guys come out and you know, the masses is what I'm trying to say, and they come out and
back in Jacob Brower now. So I don't mean to cut the story short, but I feel like Alan Fox forced the hand of Michael Scott directly behind him, which then the following lap or two forced Jacob Brower and Brian Senesac to make the same decision.
Well, right now we got 30 laps to go, and Paul Irvin, due to the pit stops, has essentially taken over the lead. And like you said, you know, here comes Paul Irvin, you know, Lawrence Holden Jr. He's now been the second, you know, third in the top 3. And then you got Daniel Krem, you know, he came in earlier on in the run, and now he finds himself a lap down, essentially, trying to find his way.
Yeah, it seems Alan Dobbs also made a pit stop about 4 laps sooner than the top, which will eventually switch over to the top 2, Alan Fox and Michael Liss Rambler. So I think he might be able to put his name in this top 3 here, you know, as he sits, you know, in the proverbial third place spot once everything kind of, you know, switches over. But I think Alan and Michael both were on the same kind of idea. You know, they've been running 1-2 most of this race, and I think for Rambler there, he saw Alan, you know, making his stop and said, well, he's the one that I think I need to beat, and kind of just put himself on the same strategy and says, I know I can run better. I know I can run faster, and he's going to put it to the test here.
So far, there's only been one pit stop, and that was for the stage break. And that's a testament to this league, Jordan, as you've gotten to watch this go on for about, this will be your second week, you know, with these guys. And now you can start seeing the drivers as they progress, and you're going to start picking your favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, with being a racer, you know, I think you always pick the number you love to run and the number of your favorite driver in the Cup Series. That's how I've always thought it. So there is no number 9 from what I've seen, you know, race here. So my allegiance kind of falls to Bryce Senesac just because it's a 09, and then I'm always pulling for Cogswell as well because at 84, that's my number, baby.
Well, you called him out, so we're going to give Senesac some screen time there as he's running P6 right now. And he's had a run of a lifetime here as he is trying to go on the inside of Alan Dobbs in that 38 car and potentially get him a 2-for-1 special. As we are meeting green with about 35 laps to go. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, you got Alan Fox there running second. And Lawrence Holman Jr., he is atop of the pylon here. I mean, is he putting a fuel strategy run?
He could very well be trying to pull that, but ultimately, I don't think that's going to really work out for him because these guys, you know, right behind him, they're going to fly by him. They're going to just kind of swallow him up. You know, he's about the only one out there that hasn't made that next pit stop. You know, Weatherby, you know, he's only on, like he's already, oh no, he just came out. My apologies. You know, Weatherby, he made a pit stop. Derek Catt just made a pit stop. Everybody else that hasn't really pitted anytime soon is either out of this race or a lap down. So I feel like for him, he's slightly wasting a little bit of time here. But he could be hoping for a caution. I know I'm one of those guys waiting and hoping just for somebody to make a mistake and kind of put yourself just in a better position. So, you know, whatever strategy you make, you just kind of have to stick with it.
Well, I mean, I don't mind the occasional caution for a break, but I mean, this is too good to have caution come out now.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate to see a caution. These guys have been unreal passive drivers for sure, but you know, it can and possibly could happen. But you know, with how these guys run, I wouldn't really think of it anyway. You know, we're sitting around 22 to go, and we're kind of spaced out right now. Now, these top guys start getting a little more bunched up and getting closer to each other. I'm looking at these guys and see them maybe pushing the issue a little harder than, you know, they would, but.
Well, as we have 21 to go here, Lawrence Holman Jr. is still atop of the pile, but that interval is closing and closing in a hurry. As Alan Fox is inching his way back to the lead there. And there's the interval right there. Only one car separates these two.
Yeah, and Alan Fox is just going to have to make a quick pass on this 11 and continue to put ground on Michael Scott.
There he goes. There's the move.
Ultimately, Liz Ramler is going to be his biggest competition here. You know, and he knows how to run. He knows where he needs to run, and he's just going to have to basically set sail here and continue to put these cars in front of him a lap down and keep some more space between him and that 57.
We now have 20 laps to go here from Miami Homestead Speedway. And Alan Fox has now taken the lead. Jacob Brower has taken in, the top three once again is Alan Fox, Michael Scott, Liz Rambler, Jacob Brower, and Bryce Sinisek here as we are on lap 122 of 140. 18 laps to go here in this one. And I had to say it, Jordan, I'm pulling for Alan Fox. I think he's got the car to hold off Michael Scott.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I think he has the best stuff to hold him off. But I think what he's still hoping for is that 3 of Brower or the 09 of Senesac can get up there and be a problem for the 57, kind of take his attention away from running down a leader and having to be more defensive, because that's only going to allow Alan Fox to pull this lead a little bit. So, and with those other 2 cars, they are just as quick, as that 57. So, they're going to have to really fight him on that. So it could work in Alan Fox's benefit that, he is a little ahead of these guys.
As Alan Fox approaches that 97 car of Forrest Smith to put him another lap down. What a run by Alan Fox there, as you can essentially see the top 4 guys within striking distance of each other.
Yeah, the 57's definitely got his hands full right now. He's definitely mirror driving a lot more than he is looking at that front windshield.
And I tell you what, Jacob Brower, last week's winner from Daytona, he is hoping, and I mean hoping, that he's scratched enough things off the Carmel list to get by Michael Scott list Rambler in that 57 car. But I mean, with 15 to go, the sands at Hourglass are going to run dry, as Bryce Sinisek is looking to the inside of Jacob Brower to try to take the lead. Does he get a 2-for-1 special coming down the front straightaway? And I don't think he's got enough motor. As Jacob Brower is going to dive to the inside and shut the door, and here comes the 13 car. Going to try to get behind him and at least help Bryce try to get by these guys.
Yeah, we're definitely coming down to crunch time. That 13's on fresh tires. He is laps down, but he is on fresh equipment. Only probably about a handful, like 10, 11 laps on those tires. So he's ultimately going to be the Achilles heel for this 09 and eventually this 3 car, and kind of holding them up and making them lose a little bit of ground. You see there, the 3 wasn't able to get a full run off that road. In danger of going behind that 09 here.
Here comes Jordan Brower. Michael Scott gets into the wall. We are 3 wide, and the 13 car is going to go right on around him, and the 3 of Jacob Brower is going to jump right back in line and live to fight another day, as we have essentially 12 laps to go here from Miami Homestead Speedway. And I tell you what, Michael Scott List Rambler has not come off the top shelf. He's been up there like the elf on a shelf, up there for days. Here comes the move to the inside.
Yeah, these guys are definitely starting to do what I was talking about at the beginning of the broadcast. They're going to be looking for wherever that other car is. They're going to try to anticipate, is he going to go high, is he going to go low, he's going to be in the middle, and they're going to try to anticipate to go elsewhere. I can't tell if Brower made contact there, but based off of how that looked, I would almost assume he got a little bit of contact, or he bounced out of it just to keep from making contact with that wall.
11 laps to go. Bryce in the second finally gets around Jacob Brower. Does not get a 2-for-1 special, but he will go ahead and try to run down the 57 car of List Rambler. Here comes Bryce in the second, working on the inside of the 57 car of List Rambler. Does he have the motor? No, but here comes Jacob Brower on the inside, trying to steal that third spot away also.
Yeah, Senesac not really giving an inch there. He's trying to drive in. Looks like he's driving in a little bit deeper, trying to kind of find that little bit of grip to maybe drive off that corner. As it looks like he might get a little bit of a slide job there, crossover.
Yikes.
Now he's going to have to see what his car can do on the outside, because Bliss Rambler is not going to let him have that inside. He kind of backs off, gives the spot to Rambler, and kind of says, I'm gonna tuck in here and try to take some air off here. These three are wild.
Rambler crossed to Bryce Sinsek over. Here comes Bryce back on the attack. Going into turn 3, does he have enough to get by the 57 car? As we watch across the quarter, he's going to slide up, and this time a little bit cleaner of a pass, as the 57 car may try to cross him over again going into turn 1, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It definitely was a little less of a slide job there than it was the previous lap. So he might try to set sail. He's running out of time. I mean, he's got a lot of time to make up, about 0.8 of a second to get up to Alan. And that was everything that Fox wanted to see in his rearview mirror, was those three getting into a little bit of a brawl, trying to take over, take off and run.
Well, there's the interval. You see you see Bryce Sinsek and Alan Fox just up ahead of him. 2 cars that separates these 2 drivers. And as you said, Jordan, these stands of the hourglass are definitely running dry for Bryce Sinsek. There is Michael Bliss Rambler. Did he use up all his stuff trying to rerun down the leader, Alan Fox?
Yeah, and I feel like some of these guys, they're going to kind of realize that lead may be just a touch out of reach, and try to hang on to the spot that they currently have right now. I mean, it would be a wise decision, but as a racer, you're just thinking to yourself, like, I can get him, and ultimately you could get him, or you could end up burning your stuff off and costing yourself a little bit of spot.
7 laps to go. Does Bryce Sinsek have enough time to essentially run down Alan Fox? I mean, I've seen crazier things happen in this league from the couple of times that I've actually gotten to call one of these races.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw last week some insane strategies and just differing, aggressiveness, and it just really showed that these guys are a class field. They know how to run, they run good, and they just put everything they can into each lap. So I mean, Senesac has kind of brought it down about 0.2. He's only about just over a half a second behind him. But, I mean, like, he's going to have to make almost a 10th a lap here, and with this lap car finding his way in front of him, it might even kind of hold him up a little bit here.
We are 5 engines in the air, 5 laps to go here at Miami Homestead Speedway, and I can tell you right now, Bryce Sinsek is hoping for a prayer or a miracle or something really, really bad to happen to Alan Fox.
He gained a full 10th there, and he's fallen off again. So, but he did drive it in deeper into that corner, so he is giving it everything that he can.
I mean, give it up to the top 3, and I would even go as far as saying give it up to the top 4, as these guys are putting on a master class on how to get around Miami Homestead Speedway. We are 4 laps to go. And, I kind of knew, even this afternoon, whenever I got the nod to come over here and call this race tonight, I kind of got the feeling that I was in for a treat of a show, especially as a viewer. So we have 3 laps to go here in this race here from Miami Homestead Speedway. Man.
Yeah, it seems like Senesac is kind of stalling at about that half second, 6 behind that 73 there. He picks up a little bit on entry. He gets just a touch of of ground, but it's not enough to keep it. He's kind of having a slower runoff than Alan Fox is getting.
Alan Fox comes to popsicle sticks in the air. 2 to go. 3 miles left here from Miami Homestead Speedway. And I got to tell you, there is your interval right there. Like I said, Jordan, I've seen weird things happen, but right now, I don't think it's meant to be. I mean, he's right there as you see the eyeball test.
Down to 3/10, he's definitely making a little bit of headway, but does he have enough to get just that little bit left? And these lap cars, they're definitely going to put a little bit of a strain on Alan Fox. You know, he was running that middle line, but you know, you kind of want to put yourself farther away from those lap cars.
There he is, back bumper. He's got essentially a half a mile to catch and get by Alan Fox with Bryce in the second. Has he been saving something for the last corner? We don't know, but
Diving in there, he's about a 10th away.
He's got to catch him.
Not going to get there. But man,
give the race to Alan Fox, who crosses the line first. Bryce Sinisek will come home second. Michael Scott List Rambler will come home P3 tonight from Miami Homestead Speedway. Wow, what a race.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal race. We saw some amazing drivers between Alan Fox, Sinisek, List Rambler, and Brower. Like they were the class of the field tonight. They knew what they wanted to do coming into this race, and they just put it all out there on the track. They used every inch of rubber, every inch of track, and every drop of fuel just to get this off.
Well, while Michael Alan Fox burns it down, Jordan, you're going to be tasked with finding our top 3, and so we can have a quick chat with these guys.
Here, we'll digging through here, taking a look, trying to find where these guys are. Looks like Bryce is already in our staging room, so we'll go ahead and bring him up. He was our 3rd place finisher, I believe.
All right, and by default, we'll let him talk to you.
He was our 2nd place finisher. My apologies.
Bryce, this is Alan and Jordan in the SRM booth. How's it going, my man?
War out, bro. It's going.
Boy, you almost had Alan Fox there at the end You know, take us through that last lap, and did you think you had anything for him?
Going to the last lap, it was looking sketchy because he had 2 lap cars around him, and I was going to have to get around him, and that was about the best I could have gotten out of 2. One guy could have gave me a bit more of the exit, but I think whether he did or not, I wouldn't have gotten him into 3 or even on the exit. Like, as soon as we got out of the corner, I knew he got it. So
look, this is like literally the 2nd race I've gotten to witness for the extreme the XMS Elite Xfinity Series, and you guys, both times that I have witnessed this type of racing gear, this series has put on a whale of a show. As you move forward through the season, what's kind of the strategy moving forward from tonight?
Well, I can only commit to think about half the season, so we're pretty much in trophy hunting mode right now, and just see how many we can get into, like either beginning or middle of June, somewhere around there. So.
Well, look, man. So once again, congratulations on the 2nd place finish. And is there anybody that you'd like to thank that helped get you here tonight?
I mean, I gotta thank Ed Morris for all he does to put this league together. The admin crew, you guys for being on the broadcast. Shout out to Alan Fox. I mean, we were in the same channel all night, and we put on a really good battle there at the end. iRacing. Shout out to Spoiler Diecast, and shout out to Celsius and Area Shop, and yeah.
Well, look, man, we're going to go ahead and get you out of there so you can celebrate that podium with Alan. And I won't see you on the next one, but Jordan will. So with that being said, go ahead and have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one, maybe somewhere down the road.
Thanks. We'll see you guys.
Jordan should have our next guy ready to go.
Yep, working on getting Rambler up. Michael Scott Rambler, it's Jordan up in the booth. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Had a good day. Got a little bit caught up in the tire strats and ended up watching a win walk away from me. But hey, it was a good run for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a great race for us to watch up here in the booth, and definitely an interesting one for the viewers at home. But you know, you fell a little bit short, but you were the class of the field, in my opinion, tonight. You know, was there anything different that you could have maybe done, you know, different strategy or saving some stuff or anything like that you think would have helped you pull off the win?
I think what ended up putting me on the back foot was when I decided to pit after the stage, I should say. I just happened to come out in a group of 4 or 5 cars. They were all battling for position and having to fight my way through. I burned up whatever advantage I had over Alan, just trying to not run over people, essentially. So I would have pitted a little bit earlier. I think it would have been very, very close there at the end. But Alan drove an incredible race. Bryce, ever a master of the strategy, ended up coming through the field, finishing second. Congratulations to those guys. It was a battle from beginning to end. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like I said, it was amazing to watch up here. I mean, at the beginning there, you know, Brower, you and Fox, you know, you guys were definitely the class of the field. You know, you guys were 1, 2, 3 for most of that race in that first stage and most of the second. It's amazing to watch. Before we let you get out of here, anybody you want to shout out to?
Thanks to McConey Setup Shop, all of our sponsors associated with Wells Esports, and thank you to Gary, all the admins, for doing what they do week in and week out. It's going to be a great season. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to everyone who came out to watch. We'll hopefully be putting up good shows like this the rest of the season for you.
Great show that it was. I look forward to watching you for the rest of the season. From what I hear around the league, you're one of the guys to watch this year. So it's going to be great to watch. So have a good night.
All right, you guys too. Thank you.
And now we'll work on getting our winner up here. I'm sure he is ready to celebrate.
Alan Fox, this is Alan and Jordan in the SRM booth. How's it going, buddy?
Hey guys, how are you?
Boy, I tell you what, same name, different spelling, but nonetheless, boy, you put on a show, man.
Man, it's been a while since I was tired at the end of one of these league races. That was a hard car to drive tonight. It was tight and it was loose and sliding. It was a weird car.
But it's such a fun track, though.
I love this one. I got last season and this season, so I'm gonna take that.
So look, man, you know, first off, congratulations on bringing home P1. And you know, I would be remiss if I wouldn't say you weren't nervous whenever Bryce was starting to catch you there at the end.
Yeah, the lap cars definitely played a factor there coming to the checker. Bryce and Scott were running me down. They pit a little bit later than I did. So, well, actually, Scott came the same lap, I think. But regardless, they were starting to run me down, and then the lap cars held them up, and then some lap cars held me up. So Caught that last duo there at a real weird spot coming out of 4, and I lost a ton of time to Bryce. And if we didn't have history, he probably would have gave me the old bump and run there. So thanks to him for running me clean there into 3 and 4 on the last lap.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch you. I know you're back to back. Got to be a great feeling. You know, I know it was later in the season. It wasn't the first or second race last year. But how does this make your run a little bit easier to the playoffs?
Well, I feel like it kind of works out like real life now. I mean, we can chase more wins, we can chase stages for playoff points. I mean, at this point, it's all about just collecting playoff points for the first round, and obviously everything after that. So, opens up a lot of strategy for the season, and hopefully can chase some more wins.
Well, look, as you know, once again, congratulations on the win. Alan, before we get you out of here, is there anybody that you'd like to thank that helped get you here tonight?
Yeah, of course, all the guys that put this on here at Extreme, and you guys for doing the broadcast. Everybody over at Primetime Motorsports. Looks like we got a first and a fifth tonight, and Bryce the honorary second. So good run for the team, and just all the partners that we have here, Elite and Rick Motec for helping us out getting this league going.
All right, Alan. Well, congratulations on that win tonight, and we'll see you guys on the next one here, later on down the season.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, next week ought to be an interesting one at Richmond, so hopefully that's another good show for you.
Yep, a little bit of short track action next week. So I look forward to seeing everybody. You guys are a class act and great field, so I look forward to the rest of the season with you guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
You as well.
All right, Jordan, as you go ahead and bring him down, we are getting ready to go over our final results here tonight from Miami Homestead Speedway, as Alan Fox brings home the checkered flag tonight for Primetime Motorsports, and Bryce Sinsack brings home P2. Michael List Rambler will bring home P3. Jacob Brower, last week's winner, picks up P4. Mike Romger finishes 5th. Alan Dobbs finishes P6. Austin Karp brings it home P7. Michael Thwaites brings it home P8. Paul Irvin brings it home P9. Nick Caldwell brings it home P10, rounding every top 10. Ted Poland brings it home P11. Daniel Krem brings it home P12. Jacob Jensen brings it home 13th. Michael Weatherby brings it home P14. P15 is Joshua Vidal. Brandon Storr brings it home P16. And the last car on the lead lap, Lawrence Holman Jr. brings it home 18th. So we go ahead and jump to the rest of the field here. Jonathan Cogswell brings it home P18 as he is scored a lap down. Forrest Smith and Derek Catt 19th and 20th respectively, both laps down. Matt Cochran brings it home 2 laps down in P21. Frank Orsini brings it home 2 laps down in P23. Justin Lemke is also 2 laps down in the 23rd spot. Douglas Carlson brings it home 4 laps down in 24th. Josh Wren, 6 laps down. He finishes P25. Ed Morris Jr., the chief cook and bottle washer here at XMS Elite Xfinity Series, brings it home 26th, 9 laps down. Ty Kier is 27th position, and he is 13 laps down. Taylor Bertram brings it home 28th. And the 29th and final finisher finishes 82 laps down of Joe Darnell. And I tell you what a race. But anyways, Jordan, final thoughts as we wrap it up here from Miami Homestead Speedway.
I mean, it was just a phenomenal race. Hands down, an amazing race to watch. all the credit to those top four specifically. I mean, they made it interesting. They were nose to tail for a lot of that race. It came down ultimately to strategy and who could save the best stuff, for later on in the race. But, these guys are a class act. I look forward to the rest of the season with them, and it's only going to ramp up from here. You're going to start seeing some tempers flare. You're going to see some rivalries building. You're going to see, a lot of, competitiveness trying to get wins, so I can only imagine that the intensity and the close finishes and everything are only going to get better from here out.
Well, as we wrap it up from Miami Homestead Speedway, and I had an awesome time filling in for Liam Irving, and I think he would be back tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, he should be back tomorrow. But I think that's gonna just about do it here from Miami Homestead Speedway, and we leave you with this little gem as we say goodnight.
Rickmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, rickmotech.com. Rickmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only